Hey y'all, Steve here with Chasing Tails 411 again. I finally got a project done. I got my battery box, power supply for my kayak, and I want to share it with you guys and give you my take on it and show you what I got built. And so let's go downstairs and check it out, shall we? Woo! Woo! Dang gone! I took a shortcut. Hey y'all. I got this battery box sitting over here, and let's go over it for a minute, shall we? Okay. Here it is. Battery box, 2 batteries. Cool. I'm sure a lot of people have seen this switch panel before. Like I say, there's a lot of people out there that have this project out there, and this is just my take on it. Just trying to do a little something new myself. I found something that challenged me, and that's what it's about. It's about doing something you've not done before, and it challenges you. So that's what this is that I've got. The box itself is actually a gun storage box. Okay. It's pretty heavy, probably 3/16 plastic polymer molded. It was tough to cut, I'll tell you that. I took my handy dandy Rockwell tool and cut out this hole for this box to sit in, and of course it's gasketed up. We got these these latches, and I don't know if you can see how they work or not, but they pull down nice and sturdy. Got this epoxied in. Basically, it was an air hole for the gun. You know, if you had a gun in here, it helps it breathe. And I didn't need that, so I just epoxied it in. And back here, these 2 bolts are now my charging system. I can take my trickle charger and hook my alligator clips on those 2 nubs right there, and it's charging. We'll see how it goes. I may do another video of a huge meltdown. That ought to be fun, right? If I touch them on metal, that won't be good. These are my 6 power ports for my switches. So I take my Lowrance, beautiful, got it, okay. I take this, right now I've got it set up, plug it right in, flip switch, on and off. I really like these locks. They're just, see how they draw that down? They're pretty sweet. All right. So anyway, so inside the box, what do we have here? What I had to do is where to start, where to begin, because this was fun, but I definitely learned some things while I'm doing this. It's interesting. So I don't know if you can see it or not, but right here I've got what would be basically in your house breaker box, and it's a ground bar, and all it is a metal bar with a bunch of screws in it, and all of my switches are going over to those. And if I have an issue, I don't have everything bunched together for a reason, because if I have an issue with one, if let's say I'm out on the lake and switch A goes bad, let's say it just burns up, let's say it melts, well, if everything's connected, then it's still having a problem. So I've got each one of them grounded and here on a fuse, so each one of them is separate of their own. So if switch A melts down and flips a breaker, I still have the rest of them. I can still do my thing because everything is individualized. And I know that, yeah, it's my OCD. So what happened was is anybody that has seen these switch panels knows that they come with these awful inline fuses. They're big. They're the big. Granted, they're still the wafer type fuses, but they were big. They were way bigger than you need in here. So what I did is I took and I eliminated those and put in these micros. These are a monstrosity. Way too big. Again, anybody that knows this box knows that this didn't look like this. It was terrible. It was a monstrosity. I think I even have a picture of it that I'll post in this spot to show you what it looked like originally. And I left the yellow and blacks because they're not terrible. The other stuff was worse than this, so that'll give you an idea. And anyway, so I've got my recharging, which is this black and this red. So what I did is, here's my hot coming off the battery into my first fuse, and then I just went loop-de-loop-de-loop-de-loop-de-loop-de to all the different fuses on the bottom, so everything's hot coming in. And then from here, I would come up and went across here to the switches. You can see this bank of screws, and like I said, all this panel is a panel out of your home breaker box type idea. Get out of my own light. So I've got the grounds coming in underneath, and they're coming up to the fuse, the ground, because that's what this is, the ground. So that's my ground block, and I've got room for more stuff. I can put more stuff in there. Because it was a gun case, it came with this foam already in it. And this part of the box came with a stack of 2 pieces of foam. And the idea is you take it, and like a gun, you cut out what you want to store in the case with it closed. Well, in my case, I have this chopped up piece of styrofoam that is going to house my batteries, and it's going to keep them nice and snug and toasty. And so let's put this in. So this is going to go in here, and it just takes a little finagling, and 99% of the time this is going to stay. I have no need to take it out. So once I get it down in here, and once I get it in place where I want it, and get my wires where I want them, there's not going to be any issue okay. So see, it's in there. And then you take your batteries and you place them in their little pockets. So, as you can see, them batteries are in there, okay? They're in there. Plenty of room for my wires to lay over. So my negative will go here, and this, along with my charging, goes back to that bolt. And this is my jumper positive. Now mind you, I've got these in parallel. So what I've got is I've got negative going to negative, positive going to positive. And then on my charging, I've got positive on this battery and negative on this battery. Each one of these go down to those bolts. And this is what's known as being in parallel. Okay? And I didn't know that before this scenario, so maybe somebody's just learned something. But anyway, this blue wire, there's a reason why it's loose, is because it goes to these bottom lights on the switches. Okay? So you can see okay, 13 volts on the main number 1 switch, but there's a light right here that the blue wire would ignite. But the thing is right now, with all the switches off, everything's off. So I could just leave this sit like it is and I won't be draining battery. Well, that blue one, I'd have to put it on a switch of its own just to ignite it. And I'm like, you know what? If I get out there and night fish and I find that I need it, I can power it. But right now, I don't need it. So it's sitting there. It's wired up. It's ready to go. Here. See, ain't them purty? Okay, but they're really, you know, I don't need them. Okay, so so there it is. It ain't hurting nothing. It's not eating anything. So it's yeah. Now something else I did. My soldering on these are not the greatest. I'll probably end up having to do something different with that, but you know, I wanted this to be a complete project and not have to say, well, I need to do this or that. But, you know, I'm trying. But anyway, what I did do is these items up here, okay? And like I say, once this is closed, I don't have any need to open that. I've got my charging back here. I got my outlets for items to plug into. I've got my switches. Okay. My USB lit up. This is hot. And what I did is this first switch, the only thing that's on that switch is this voltmeter. Because I want that. I want that to be separate, and I want accurate information so that if I'm out on the water and I see this thing, you know, down, it's time to head out, okay? So what I did do otherwise is these two items, the lighter plug and the USB plug, I took them on fused wires and put them on this switch. And they're by themselves as well. So that I can charge, you know, charge things. I actually had thought about using this lighter plug as a means of hooking in a trickle charger. I thought about that. I said, you know what, I could do that. But then it would use up my lighter plug. So I came up with this other idea, and we'll see how it works. And I may go that route. But for right now, with this switch on, it's hot and it's hot. This switch on is my voltmeter. These other 4 going down to, well, I take that back. This last switch is on a plug as well. The only one that is separate from everything is my voltmeter switch. All the other 5 are attached down here. So even though this is on and I'm using, and these are lit and hot, I can still plug in something into number 6 or number 5, whatever it is, and still run something here. So So anyway, I mean, it's worked out. It's a pretty cool project, and I got plenty of power. This is two 8-amp-hour batteries running parallel, which will give me 16 amp hours out on the water running my fish finder or whatever. When we was kids, we used to fish with bow lights off the sides of our boat that were aiming down at the water for night fishing for crappie and stuff, and we used to do that a lot. So what I'm seeing online is these green LEDs making, or even buying, whatever, a tube of green light that you could throw out in the water and attract the bait fish, which attracts the catching fish, blah blah. So I could run something like that in here quite easily. A pole light on my kayak so that at night people can see who I am, whatever, that can plug in there. If I wanted to put some deck lights so that maybe at night I thought about doing some red lights so that I can see to tie, fishing line or whatever at night and not harm my eyes too bad. The red works pretty well on that. Any of that kind of stuff I can plug in here just as quick as you please. So there'll be some things that come along in this that I'll share with you, and I've got some subscribers. I'm kind of excited. I'm up to 8, and so it's really cool, and of course it's handy. I'll be able to take that and put that on my kayak, and let's go fishing. You know what I'm saying? So again, that's what this is about. It's about challenging yourself to do something that you've never done before. It's about building something you didn't know. Maybe you're sitting there thinking, "Oh, I can't do that." Well, you'd be surprised what you can do if you try. So as long as we're doing something like this, this is living. Okay, y'all, this is Steve with Chasing Tails 411. I had a wonderful time here. The battery box is going to be great. What do they say? Comments, subscribe, all that. It's been fun, and hopefully you'll see this in some coming videos too. So we'll see you guys in the next one. See ya.